Aside from your beautiful performances and your role as a cantor in the congregation and a mother and a wife, you managed to be the founder and president of a very important organization for women cantors. Please tell us about it.
Oh, thank you. It's called the Women Cantors Network, and it's very near and dear to my heart, obviously. When I started in 1981, there were very few colleagues to share with. I was in a community, and there were other cantors, obviously, all around me, and I felt very alone. But I knew that there had to be other cantors out there, and certainly other women cantors who might have some of the same concerns and issues and questions. It was all a very new time in the early 80s. So I was at a Cantors Assembly convention, actually, and I was sitting at a table with about 12 women, some part-time, some interested, all different kinds of women.
Now that's the conservative
And the
flagship.
conservative, which is where I always felt my heart was with the tradition, because I grew up with my grandfather's music, and that's felt like that's the home for it.
I just want to clarify, that's the Jewish Theological Seminary. The
Cantors Institute.
Yeah.
Right. So I decided it'd be wonderful to get together with these women and share. And then maybe there's some more women out there that would enjoy something like this. So I put some ads in the newspaper, in Moment Magazine, Jewish Week, and said, I'm going to have a conference of women cantors. And this was in 1982. And lo and behold, 12 women showed up, some with very interesting stories. One woman I will never forget came from Brooklyn and was from a Hasidic family. And her husband was Hasidic. And she wouldn't allow her name to be used because she said if her husband found out that she was at this conference, that would be the end of it. Very interesting. Well, from those early days, we've grown to about 240 women cantors.
Wow.
We just got our first member from Israel, so we can say we're international. We have some in Europe, but first one in Israel, mostly in the United States, a little bit Canada. But we have an annual conference that is, for some people, their lifeline for the whole year, because it's an environment where people are there really to share and create magic, care for each other. It's not a place for big egos. Nobody lets you know if they're in a big synagogue or a small synagogue. I don't care if you're full-time or part-time, whether you have ordination or certification. Those aren't the issues for us. The issue is loving Jewish music, loving being a cantor, wanting to share what we know, wanting to ask what we don't know, and help each other. We have brought in some incredible cantors, rabbis, spiritual leaders. We just have the most phenomenal kind of conferences, and they're usually on the East Coast. We had one in Ohio, but we try and bounce from Boston to New York to Washington to Philly. We're going to be at Hastings on the Hudson in June. We're going to have another conference, but I just love it. Some of my dearest friends are there, and we welcome new people. It's a non-threatening kind of thing. It's only $20 to join.
I heard you have one honorary woman member, a male honorary woman member.
Oh, yeah. We have a male member. Actually, we have a few male members.
Okay.
Some just support us because they think it's a really neat organization.
Yeah.
And one, actually a wonderful cantor from the Cantors Assembly came to a conference and really loved it.
Wow.
And so, it's something that we're discussing, how we're moving, because we may have something that appeals to more than just women.
I see.
And so it's interesting. It's just a whole nother issue and perhaps a whole nother discussion where we're headed. But, in my mind, and I will say this as the proud founder, I believe because there were doors shut to me when I was beginning my life as a cantor, I would never want to shut a door to anyone,
Good for you.
male or female. I don't think it's right.
Well, it's very interesting that you said, because part of, I understand you very well, because part of the reason why I'm doing Rabbi Rock is because that feeling of being amongst a lot of different people, but waking up and saying, hey, we don't have Jewish TV. There's Chinese TV. There's Indian TV. For a long time. And the Indian movie industry is bigger than Hollywood. But we don't really have TV for our own. There's no version of MTV for Jewish music or spiritual music. There's contemporary Christian, but there's not contemporary Jewish.
And that's why we need Rabbi Rock.
That's it.
I think it's great.
So I think you have, in order to do something like that, like you've done, I think you really have to be able to admire other people. There's so much jealousy and competition in the world. And
among artists. It can be that way.
Silly.
It is so silly. There's room for everyone.
A baritone is a different character than a tenor.
Right.
And your kind of music is different than my music. But I admire your music. And we could admire each other. So you need somebody that is able to get over themselves.
Yeah.
To make a platform for people to come. And I want many, we have a great artist here, Cantor Deborah Katchko-Gray, and we want the other artists, Jewish artists, to step up to the plate. And we want to showcase you. We want to hear about your artistry, all kinds of things. We'd like to hear about music from North Africa. We'd like to hear about music from any part of the world. Any kind of interesting, we're living in a very interesting time. A lot of different kind of synthesis of different forms are coming together.
Right, there's a lot of interest in fusion.
Fusion, that's the word.
World music all of a sudden sounds like something new, but it's really, bringing together different things. I'll never forget hearing cantorial music to like an Indian drum beat. Or and you hear all that wailing above it, and it's like, wow,
it works.
It works.
Yeah.
It absolutely works. I recently heard David Chevan from the Afro-Semitic Experience. He took my grandfather's ritzay and did it with a very cool bass line. Played the melody with bass and did this very interesting, cool music around it. And I thought, I'm not sure if that would work in a synagogue, but it's going to bring my grandfather's music to a whole new audience, with people who aren't coming to a Friday night service.
That's right.
But they're going to hear this chazanut in a different way.
That's right.
And that's beautiful. And that's absolutely wonderful. We recently had a service with the Crossroads Ensemble, which perhaps at another show we'll play a clip from that, because, wow, they're really a world music group. We have Paris, there was Latin America, and there's Israel.
Yes.
And they play together, and they make an awesome sound, and they accompanied a Friday night service. Well, we had such a great time that I felt for the first time, if I ever wanted a band to work with, that's it. And that night, I was able to raise the funds to bring them back for Rosh Hashanah, because I realized that what they did was they elevated the service. It wasn't like a jazz festival. It was completely appropriate and spiritual and beautiful.